All right, let's get started, man.
Oh,
So,
dive right into it.
well, we had talked about notable deaths, actors and actresses in the last two episodes that we
And
did.
then right after we put out the celebrity deaths, like we had a couple of really big ones that hit right away. George Michael, and Carrie Fisher were right there.
Carrie Fisher
and like the day after, Alan Thicke.
Alan Thicke died before
it was
Carrie
the day
Fisher
before. That's
and
right.
George Michael.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher, out of everybody that has passed away this year, and there's been a lot that I've admired for their creativity and their contribution to, art in general, Carrie Fisher really hit me the hardest because it's Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Now, there'd be a lot of people that I've seen on YouTube, or not on YouTube, but on Twitter and in certain like forums that she's General Organa. You can't call her Princess Leia anymore. She's General Organa. And I'm just like, I kind of cringe when I see that because first of all, it's more that, SJW kind of rhetoric getting thrown into the passing of an icon, a science fiction icon. But she was Princess Leia
first
for the longest period of time and was General Organa for the last year.
Yeah, the one movie.
But does being a general not mean she's a princess anymore? I mean, I guess she's technically not a princess since her planet
the planet
destroyed.
no longer exists.
But man, Carrie Fisher, you gotta love her. She was the first strong female character that I was ever really exposed to as a kid. And I don't recall, and I'm 35, all right? I was born in 1981, so I don't recall a time in my life that I wasn't aware of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was huge in our family. My mother actually said that was the first movie that she had gone and seen multiple times in the theater because she loved it so much. So, I don't remember how old I was when I saw Star Wars for the first time. And I don't remember how old I was when I saw all these movies, but I was always aware.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember ever not knowing who Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker or Princess Leia was. So, now she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And she was 60. Which is probably a little young for average life expectancy, but she did have some issues. She suffered from mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
She suffered from addiction and alcoholism and stuff like that. So, but man, she if you listen to any of her interviews, she is so sassy and just kind of like a give no fuck attitude.
Yeah,
which even made me like her even more as a person,
yeah, absolutely.
As opposed to the character that she's played. Plus, she was in the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, she was also in the movie The Burbs.
Yes,
with Tom Hanks.
Yes, that was a great movie. Corey Feldman.
Yes,
was
Corey Feldman
in that movie. She was in an episode of 30 Rock. Did you ever watch that show?
Yeah, and she played like Liz Lemon's hero.
Yeah, she played Liz Lemon's hero, but then she kind of like, it's one of those like don't meet your heroes type things where she kind of goes to her house and it's all trashy and she got Liz to quit her job she got him fired.
Right.
And she's like, I made you. I sat here and my junk dried up for you as you, to pave the way for you. and it's really funny. And she's gotten some success from writing. I haven't read any of her books, but she's enjoyed some success from her writing. Postcards from the Edge was actually turned into a movie, starring Meryl Streep. She did the book The Princess Diarist, and it's more of like kind of, I guess, more of a journal, semi-autobiographical type books that she's done. But she's also, in her humanitarian efforts to bring more awareness to mental illness. That's kind of one of the things that she was known for later on in life before she reprised her role as Leia Organa.
Exactly.
Can we just call her that?
I think that's fine. Her advocacy for mental illness and just bringing the idea of mental illness into the mainstream,
mainstream consciousness,
talking about it, because so many people who do suffer from mental illness don't feel like they can talk about it because it's such a taboo subject, and her advocacy for it really made all the difference in the world.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I just want to, we did like the whole notable deaths of 2016 and actors and stuff, but Carrie Fisher, for me, definitely deserves her own segment on our show. lucky her, I guess. But that's
such a screwed up thing to say.
Well, no, I mean we're just a small podcast and everything, and who cares what our opinion is, of really? But she has had such an impact and played a big part in just kind of my fandom, not only of Star Wars but of science fiction, of film, and she's one of the big reasons that I like that series, that franchise. She was never the damsel in distress.
Always.
She kicked more ass than Luke Skywalker and Han Solo in the first movie.
Yeah.
Because she's like, someone's got to save our skins. Fuck you. And it's just one of those things. She was never, she was one of the first characters introduced into a movie like that was a strong female character. They used to just be like eye candy or the damsel in distress. But she, of course, she was a princess and they did rescue her, but she pretty much fixed the rescue. Yeah.
Because they just kind of went in half-assed. Yeah. And then she's like, okay, this is what we need to do.
Right, and she's a pivotal character throughout that whole series. And, was a politician and a general, and she's just, she was a badass. She broke the mold, and I think she probably, of course I'm a dude, so it's hard for me to relate, but I'm sure she has inspired young girls and people like her.
Absolutely.
Or to be like her.
Well, and there's oftentimes a pretty huge portion of Carrie's career that is kind of overlooked because it was behind the scenes. She did a lot of script editing.
Yeah.
And
uncredited script editing.
Uncredited for the most part. Like, she was a huge driving force in Hollywood for the last 30 years.
Right.
After the last the original trilogy, before we came back to The Force Awakens, she was still doing stuff.
Right.
Constantly.
And I guess it is worth mentioning too that her mother, 16 hours after she passed away, her mother also passed away too.
Yeah, that I think was probably the most tragic thing that I read this week. Like, because on Tuesday I was going to visit family for Christmas, and I had heard that day that Carrie Fisher had died. And then, like, it was either later that night or earlier the next day, I heard that Debbie Reynolds had passed as well, and I was like, that is so tragic.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll definitely miss Carrie and her influence in Hollywood, and she's at least when you have a person that is prolific in film and literature, I guess you'd say, they still leave behind that legacy. So, all of her previous work is there. And, she suffered from mental illness and addiction, and now she's not anymore. So
yeah, it's the same thing with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
At least they're not suffering anymore.